This is Jeremy Prophet here for The Hannibal TV, being joined by my most illustrious guest to date, the one and only Wes Brisco. Wes, thank you so much for being on my show. Really appreciate it.
First of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, well, you know, having you on this show really helps to give credibility to us, because so far we've only had local GNW talent, but now...
Which is some of the greatest talent around, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, you've been in the ring with a number of them,
Okay.
and now having you here, we get to ask you some of the questions. Some will be a little bit hard, some might be a little bit easier, but you know, we'll just kind of try to keep it flowing, and if there's ever anything that comes up that, you know, maybe rubs you the wrong way, that's cool. We can always edit it in post-production.
All right, sounds good.
So one of the first things I wanted to ask you about is your thoughts on wrestling here in Canada. You've been up for us a couple of times. What do you think of the country, the talent? Feel free to let us know.
Well, I mean, first of all, Canada has a huge part of professional wrestling. I mean, just the history from Stu Hart and just everything from Pat Patterson. The history of wrestling in Canada is huge, and just the respect that I have for Canadian wrestlers and just the way that they've involved and changed the way that wrestling is today is incredible. I love the people, I love the food, I love pretty much everything about Canada. It's fun, especially the women. The girls are beautiful. Woo!
Indeed, indeed. Now, I'm sure a lot of you people know Wes for his own accomplishments. He's been in just about every major promotion out there, whether it be WWE, TNA, so on and so forth. Some of you newer fans may not know that Wes comes from a wrestling family. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your family. And
yeah, I come from, my dad is Gerald Brisco. He is a WWE Hall of Famer. He was a NWA Tag Team Champion. He was Florida NWA Light Heavyweight Champion. And then he was recently, he won the 24/7 title. And then my dad was also two-time hardcore WWE champion. And then my uncle, Jack Briscoe, was a two-time NWA heavyweight champion.
so for you, was wrestling natural? Was it, you know, something that automatically you decided, I gotta do this, my dad did it, you know, I'm gonna do this? Or was it maybe a different path that you took to getting into the business?
Well, I mean, I always amateur wrestled and I've always did martial arts my whole life, but kind of in my high school years, I kind of went a little bit away and started doing professional sports and started doing like professional wakeboarding and surfing, and kind of went a little bit of different route just to kind of find myself. I kind of wanted to find myself, and then of course everyone again falls back in love with professional wrestling, and I knew I had to get in the ring.
So when did that big moment come for you? Because I know that you got into WWE fairly early on in your career.
Mm-hmm.
So how long was that? Was that maybe a couple of years working the independents, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always learned how to professional wrestle, but yeah, I was just a couple months in the indies, and then I got signed.
Mm-hmm. And what was your experience like in WWE? Was it what you expected, first of all? Or?
Well, it was really hard. I mean, at first, you know, especially being a second generation wrestler, everyone thinks it's going to be easy, but all the guys make you work a lot harder. They kind of pick on you. They think you're here just because of your last name, which, you know, I was there to prove that I love wrestling and that I am one of the best, and that I'm going to work my ass off to become one of the best wrestlers possible.
And from there, you were in FCW. I don't think it had become NXT yet, or was it NXT?
Yes, it was FCW, and then right at the end, I was tag team champions with Xavier Woods, which is part of the New Day. Me and Xavier Woods were would be the NXT tag team champions, and then we were about to go debut on Monday Night Raw. And the night before we were supposed to debut, I blew my knee on a house show. So kind of ixnayed that kind of those plans.
Yeah, I mean, those kinds of things can happen in our business at any time, injuries, and I mean, maybe it might have been a blessing in disguise, because from there you went and had a great opportunity with TNA, with Impact Wrestling. You were part of Aces and Eights. I think that definitely was a highlight of your career. Maybe, you know, give the fans a little bit.
Jeremy, I think you really touched on it a lot. I think I really did grow a lot. I think it was a lesson for me, because I got to really learn a lot more different styles. I got to travel more. I got to go to Puerto Rico. I got to go to England. I got to go to Japan. I got to go to Mexico. I got to go to Canada. I got to wrestle this great dude. Just getting to learn and be able to wrestle different guys and be able to wrestle different techniques, different styles of wrestling. You know, it was able to broaden my horizon a lot more. So I was actually, like you said, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And then of course I got signed with TNA, and then I got so blessed to be able to have a feud with no other than Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist. You know, we can't get bigger than that.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me a couple of stories, but getting to work with a lot of the veterans there. I think you had one particularly good one there with Sting. You think you and Garrett Bischoff worked was it a tag match with Sting? I forget who Sting had been teaming with, but you got a lot of praise from Sting from that match.
Yeah, it was funny. Just some things weren't going right, and I saw Sting yell at Garrett to go, tag Wesson, and then as soon as Garrett tagged me in, Sting was like, thank you, brother. And then we just went on to the spots because I worked a little bit with Sting and I knew kind of how to work with Sting. I knew, you know, his style, where to be and the positioning and how to sell for his moves. And right when, like, after the match, he came up and gave me the big hug and he was like, Wes, you're truly a professional. Like, you knew how to, like, call all my stuff for me and allow me to, like, look like $1 million. So I thought that was a real big, you know, compliment to me to have Sting, you know, say that to me. So I was really blessed to say.
And you kind of got in at a time where the business was slowly changing. There's changes in management and WWE, changes in hiring protocol. We used to see sometimes guys just getting hired, no experience, just either they have a look or they have some exceptional skill, and then they kind of try to fill in the blanks and whatnot. Whereas now it's more towards hiring people who are already seasoned, they've already well-traveled, sort of like yourself after Impact. Do you feel that they've gone in the right direction and now looking for seasoned talent and people who already have a lot of the tools all together? Or do you think there are maybe some benefits to how it was?
Well, they do half and half, because my dad right now in charge of WWE picking talent for everyone, for the amateur wrestling to MMA to that type of sports to the Olympics. My dad was just at the Olympics in Brazil with Mark Henry. But they're still looking for every type of athlete. They're trying to find the best athlete possible. And right now with AEW and MLW and all this other competition, now they got to really start picking up these indie guys, because they can't let none of this talent, you know, sit up there, because there's so many different platforms to be able to show, especially, you know, Hannibal TV. We got all this good stuff.
Yeah, over 100,000 subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, you're a big part of that with the impact that you've had in this company. Now, you've had the chance to get your feet wet to wrestle a few different people. You and Nathan Banner had a long storied rival.
Yeah.
You can feel free to check it out on Hannibal TV. You can see everything from him and Banner throwing down in the ring. I think he jumped you in the shower one time as well.
I don't want to talk about that. It was no prison scene.
You know, you say that on here, and suddenly the hits are going to go up on that video because you tell them not to watch it more than if you do. But you know, you've had a rivalry with him. You faced Hannibal a few times. You had an outstanding triple threat match with Rene Dupree and Hannibal also. But you know, this might be something that you see a lot. You go to a lot of different promotions and you come across a lot of different talent. What would you say is your favorite memory, wrestling-wise, in ring, in Great North Wrestling so far?
Man, I mean, probably to win the heavyweight championship. I mean, could be the highlight. I couldn't ask for anything more than that. I mean, that's absolutely the pinnacle, as you would say.
And you have a match coming up tonight, in fact.
Yes,
by the time this interview gets posted, the match will probably have already taken place and it'll be online. But tonight you're taking on Max Testosterone, current heavyweight champion. And I remember the last time you guys were together, there was a little bit of friction between you. He had some colorful things to say to you. You said quite a few things back. And what the people at home don't know.
Well, first of all, it was all about respect. And he crossed that line. And as soon as he crossed that line, I didn't have no colorful words to say to him until he chose to use those words towards me. You know, I didn't cross that line. He crossed that line. And when you cross that line with the Briscoe, you got trouble.
So, I mean, that's going to be one hell of a match. Now, all of that aside, do you respect Max as a wrestler?
I respect every human being. I respect every person that walks in this ring. I respect every person that helps set up these cameras. I respect every single person. But it's gonna be a war, and he's not on my good side, I'll tell you that.
So let's say it's all said and done. You win the match, your hand gets raised in victory. You're going to see a handshake between two warriors at the end of that, or do you expect them to apologize? What comes first?
You know, that's something that you guys are going to just have to tune in and find out.
Well, that's definitely going to be a match you don't want to miss. We got a little bit more time, or we can keep this going?
I got a couple more minutes before I go.
Okay, so I mean, I always like to give everyone that comes on this show an opportunity to do some shout outs, tell people where they can see you, where they can follow you, and if you got any big things coming up next, anything you want to plug, feel free to use this platform.
Of course, you can follow me on Instagram, Wes Brisco 19, Twitter, Wes Brisco. I just started my own clothing line. It's called Naughty Life. You can check that out, naughtylifeclothing.com. I got a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty much everywhere and anywhere you could be. But yeah, just check out my stuff. Give me a follow. Give me a like. I also have my own podcast, my own show, the Brisco and Big A Show. I also have my own Spotify list of my own playlist of songs that I like to listen to that you can check out. I have a bunch of different stuff going on, so just check me out, follow me, hit the like button, hit that subscribe, and make sure you follow Hannibal TV too.
Alright, so I'm going to throw out a few things here while we still have some time. A few little things, you know, I know about you, maybe not a lot of people know. I know for one, you're very avid when it comes to your surfing, the beach lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely.
How long has that been a part of your life?
That's been part of my life, since I was born. And that's pretty much, this company that I created is board shorts, it's swimwear for girls, it's t-shirts, it's basically anything to do with water. Surfing, wakeboarding, jet skiing, fishing, just hanging out, just holding your girlfriend's hand in the sunset. That's what we're all about. We're all about experiencing the water, the salt life, you know. So that's, the water's always been a big part of my life because I was a professional wakeboarder for 12 years. I got to tour the world doing that. I had my own professional wakeboard, the Wes Brisco model that sold all around the world. So water's always been a big part of my life. And I'm also a Pisces, so of course, you know, being a fish.
I get along well with Pisces. That's probably why you and I get along so well.
That's why we've had some really good matches, tell you the truth.
Well, we've had one kind of good match. We kind of got our feet wet there, but we haven't really had the chance to go head to head. Hopefully on a GNW event in the future, we can make this happen. I'll be more than willing to put pen to paper and sign the contract for that to happen because I've wanted to test my skills against someone at your level. Now, sticking to that subject, that's great about your business. All is that online? It's e-commerce?
It's online, and then the company launches at the end of this month. We have our Instagram, Naughty Life 24/7. It's on Instagram. We have our own YouTube. We'll have everything set up. So just follow me on Instagram, and you'll be able to figure out everything.
Now, another thing I know about you that I didn't know before you and I had talked for the first time was that you've also competed in martial arts.
Yes,
and have quite an impressive record.
Yeah, I have 2 different black belts. I'm a 2-time state champion. I boxed for, I believe it was 8 years. I did Muay Thai for around 7 years.
I mean, those are some impressive credentials.
Yeah.
That's why you're so dangerous in the ring.
Yeah, I don't consider myself dangerous. You know, I know I'll protect myself.
And you know how to throw down. You know, he's very modest. He's a humble guy, but he knows what he's doing in there. I've seen it up close firsthand, and definitely you know how to take care of yourself. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, I know you've said this in a previous Hannibal TV interview. I'm going to put my own twist on it, though. Everyone knows about the Briscoe Brothers tag team, and you've already talked about that, how that was more or less like in tribute to your father and your uncle. Mm-hmm. Have you had a chance to work with them on a show? Did you guys ever do a 6-man tag? Has that happened yet?
No, but I would like to. That'd be cool.
I almost feel that'd be a perfect fit. You know, Wes Brisco and the Briscoes. 6-man tag.
That would be cool. I'll be down with that. You know, you never know. ROH hit me up. You know, I'd hit up my agent, make that money right.
All right. One other thing I wanted to do, there's a gentleman sitting there behind the camera. I don't know if he's too shy to be on camera. Usually during the shows, he's not. But I don't know, Jason, do you have a minute? You wanna come up here? Yeah. I want you to talk about him because this guy has got to be your biggest fan. He's always by your side. He deserves the screen time. Here, come over here beside Wes.
Come here, Jason. Sit on down. I'll stand up, buddy.
You know, people don't know, but this guy runs one of the biggest Francophone websites, French language wrestling websites, info-lutte.com. That's info-lutte.com. And this site is seen in France and Belgium. And so what I wanted to know, and I'm not bringing you on here to ambush you or anything, but you know, you've helped Wes quite a bit. Have you gotten Wes?
He's helped me so much. I can't thank this guy enough. He's been a brother to me.
You make me international by accepting my contract with me.
Yes.
And the Aces and Eights brand is still living and thriving. thanks to the efforts of this man with the Aces and Eights Quebec branch, Wes.
Thanks to Wes.
Patched in as the leader at this point. And I just wanted to bring you on here because I know Wes appreciates you a lot, and I think you deserve a little time in the spotlight as well.
My brother right here.
And hopefully he gets you some bookings out in France and in Belgium and those.
Yeah, I know, exactly, man. Hit
Might
me
want to throw
up,
that
you
out
know?
there.
Flash Gordon, if you want to book Wes Brisco, just call me.
Yeah, man, hit him
And
up.
every promotion in La France.
There we go. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me.
Wes.
Always a
I
pleasure,
appreciate you
man.
being on my
Nothing
show
but
as well.
respect and love, man. I got nothing but, man, you're one of the greatest talents yet. Dude, you need to be in WWE. I'm out.
And just one thing, next time I make you win a belt, don't backstab me.
I'll try to remember that for future reference.
Thanks for having me.
All right, this has been Jeremy Prophet for the Hannibal TV. Keep on watching, subscribe, like, and I will see you again next time.